Hello there. My name is Marie Toole, and I'm a Colorado AARP volunteer. AARP Colorado believes the best years begin at 50, and we are out to prove that with our program, the new 50 Plus. It's a mindset that says we are better than ever. We can see and feel the trends. People in 50 and older are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they are preparing themselves to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They are taking time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that get up and go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with culinary nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover new ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things we love to do without limitations. Please note that we are offering a closed caption option this evening. If you are interested in that option, click on the last red button at the bottom. If you are watching a recorded version, you may download the transcript under the Handouts tab, the fifth red button to the left that looks like paper. Also, if you are interested in a copy of tonight's recipe, it is located in the Handout tab below. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website, www.aarp.org/food/healthy-eating. We look forward to connecting with you. And in that lively spirit, we welcome you to enjoy our Eating for More Energy with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. And here is Michelle Fox.
Hello, 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 and welcome to my kitchen. I am so happy to be here, so happy to have you. I've been looking over here. I'll just let you know the chat box is to the left of my screen. So if you see me looking away, just know you still have my full attention, but I want this to be as interactive as possible. So I've been reading some of the comments coming in. It looks like this community is across the nation. We've got every single time zone taken care of. So if you haven't put your location in the chat, go ahead, put it in now. I would love to know where you are right now. And if you want to go an extra step, let me know if you're cooking with me or if you're sitting back and taking notes. Because either way, like I said, I want this to be interactive. I want this to be fun. And hopefully you'll learn a lot. But more important, hopefully you'll have a lot of fun. I think that's why AARP invites me to these things, because I really try to infuse fun with nutrition. Thank you again, Marie, for the beautiful introduction. As she said, I am a culinary nutritionist, and so my goal is to get as much nutrition in your body as possible. And if we can make it taste good, then that's the extra bonus. So it looks like we have Florida, we've got Oakland. Michelle Matheson is living the dream from California. Welcome, Michelle. Awesome name. I actually just got back from a family vacation in California this past weekend, and it was amazing. So great to see you. So great to see so many people from Florida and also Denver and Colorado. Let's see, Louise is saying she's taking notes. It's 8:30 there. Okay, I'll try to talk fast because yes, it is probably too late to be cooking dinner, but I don't know, maybe you have your own lifestyle. And like I said, hopefully you'll learn something and then you can cook it another day if you want to. We've got more Florida, beautiful Colorado, another Michelle. Tonight might be the night for Michelle. But don't worry, everybody else, you're welcome too. And I'm gonna love on you as well. Let's see, Andrea is taking notes from Aurora. So happy to have you here, Andrea. Kathleen, Washington State, and you're watching, awesome. Terry's taking notes due to the time, but excited to see and learn. Okay, so it looks like we have not only people across the nation, but we've got different needs and desires for this evening. So let's jump in. We are going to be cooking one of my favorite dishes, which I'll admit from the beginning, I kind of stole from my husband. He learned this recipe when he was working in the restaurant biz quite a few years ago. but I took it and I put my culinary nutrition spin on it, and I want to share it with you. And I did take the liberty to change the title. It's called Unparmesan Chicken over roasted red potatoes and a veggie melange. I noticed a few people in the beginning were asking about the veggies. Don't you worry, we're going to get in there, because my idea for tonight's workshop is we're getting kind of towards the end of the summer. Hopefully some of you have experienced some of the beautiful farmers markets that are all across the nation. But I know if you're anything like me, you get to these farmers markets and the stands just look gorgeous. They're like overflowing with these beautiful veggies, and intuitively you know that you want to buy them, and so you probably do, and then you get them home, and then it's like, okay, now what? So tonight, let's do something with a lot of those veggies. We're going to be working with green beans, red onions, colored peppers, and I do get talking a lot about the nutrition piece. So tonight, I'm going to do my best to focus on the cooking, because we do have a lot of moving parts, and I want to get this all in under an hour. So first things first, heat your ovens. For those of you who are cooking with me, let's start with 400 degrees. If you have one oven, which most people do, let's do 400 degrees. We're going to be baking the roasted potatoes and the chicken tonight. If you have two ovens, then go ahead and do one oven at 400 degrees and then one oven at 425. And the higher heat would be for the red potatoes. Okay, we are going to start with the red potatoes. And for those of you all who are cooking with me, hopefully you saw the ingredients ahead of time. But if not, feel free to look at the bottom of your screen if you're on a laptop or a desktop, and you'll see the round buttons. The button towards the middle that looks like a pamphlet, I've got a beautiful recipe that I created for you and wrote up for you that you're welcome to click on and download. And you may have that for tonight and forevermore. So it's there. And then those of you who want the closed caption, as Marie mentioned, it's at the far end, another red button down there at the bottom, and you can click on that for the closed caption version of tonight's workshop. And then I noticed last time we did this, some people that are on iPads, they couldn't see the red buttons at the bottom. So look to the left of your screen and you should be able to see both options, actually all the options there to the left. All right, let me just double check the notes before I get my hands going. Let's see, is this video? I don't see it. Okay, so Julia, I don't know if there's a help button that can help you, but we are video, and the fact that you wrote that, hopefully that means you can hear me. So fingers crossed that it'll work and that you can see me as well. Let's see, oh, and it worked. Yay, Julia's back with us. Okay, so hopefully, like I said, that hopefully you've already chopped things up, but if not, don't worry, you can chop them up as I'm talking. I already chopped up the red potatoes, and the reason I chose red potatoes over the brown potatoes is because brown potatoes typically are up here on the glycemic index, whereas red potatoes very low. And for those of us who struggle perhaps with some sugar issues or anything related to the blood, we definitely want to be cognizant, be very mindful of those higher glycemic foods that we're putting in our bodies. So the red potatoes are going to be your safer choice when you're looking for that carb to kind of, fill your belly. So go ahead and quarter. I think the recipe I wrote down called for 6 to 8 potatoes. Tonight I chopped up 6, and mine were about medium size, and so I think I said to quarter them, but it's more like eighth them, but they're about this size because we're only going to bake them or roast them for about 20 minutes, and I want to make sure they're, kind of crunchy, but not overcooked and not undercooked. So we're going to put those in the bowl. Then we're going to take only about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Olive oil is one of those oils that are amazing to support our brain health. You heard that little clink? Let's do another clink. Cheers to olive oil. There is no such thing as perfection when it comes to culinary nutrition, except for the fact that we're getting perfect food into our perfect bodies. I have a really strong belief that there's no good versus bad when we're talking about food. We're just talking about the foods that are going to feel good for our body and make us feel good while we eat them. So that was 2 tablespoons olive oil in the potatoes. Again, brain supportive, low sugar. I'm gonna take some sea salt, which is, fun fact, pH level of sea salt is very closely related to the pH level in our human blood. And so I encourage you to perhaps look into it. If you look at any of the white salts that you may have in your kitchen, and may not if you've been working with me for a while, you'll notice there's lots of ingredients on that box that you probably can't pronounce, and they're definitely not out in your backyard. So the sea salt, if we want that extra oomph, the extra flavor, let's go for the sea salt instead of that chemical stuff. All right, I see some things moving over here, so I just want to make sure we answer any questions. So are there any difference between the red and the purple potato? Awesome question, Kit. Yes, but very little. I would say a general rule out in nature, the foods especially that we're eating from nature, the darker the color, the more nutrients you're going to get. So if you chose purple potatoes instead, you get bonus points, Kit. Red potatoes, again, low glycemic, but purple potatoes are also low glycemic and have just slightly more minerals because of that color. It's educating us that they're a little bit higher in minerals. So nicely done. All right, so let me just double check my recipe. I'm pretty sure I just said sea salt, olive oil. One thing I didn't write down, but if you have it laying around or you want to grab some garlic powder, I like to put a little bit of garlic powder just to give it, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more flavor. You can never go wrong there. And now we're just going to mix it all together. Normally, I would use my hands, and so if you're in your kitchen, go ahead, use your hands. My setup's a little bit different today just because washing hands is a little bit more challenging when you're on the screen. But you are in your home kitchen, so go for it. Get your hands in there. Get them dirty. I'll be joining you with the getting them dirty very soon here. Okay, so we just want to make sure that everything's coated. All the sides of the potato are coated. And now I'm just grabbing a glass dish. You're welcome to do cookie sheet, anything that's safe in the oven. And the main thing we want to be concerned about here is that there's enough space for your potatoes. Because if they're too close, then that moisture gets in there and then they get kind of soggy. And we want more of that. We're going more for the crispier texture. So spreading them out. And now I'm putting them in the oven for 20 minutes. All right, I'm going to set my timer so you don't have to worry about it. If you're cooking with me, I've got you covered. I got your back. All right, so 20 minutes on the potatoes. Now let's jump into the chicken. Yes, I know it sounded like some people might have been confused that this was going to be a vegetarian class. I don't know where that confusion came from. I'm sorry, but if you don't eat animal protein, no worries. You can add your vegetarian protein at the end. So just skip this next step. But the Veggie Melange and the roasted potatoes, those are absolutely great for you and absolutely vegetarian. So for the chicken, those of us who are eating the meat protein this evening, I recommend you grab either a Ziploc bag or some other kind of bag that you can seal. And then you're gonna grab a mallet, which I understand, not everybody has a mallet in their kitchen, and that is quite fine. You can grab something that has some weight, like maybe a glass jar or a thick mug. And we just wanna kind of, like that, we're just gonna beat down the chicken because we wanna flatten it out as much as possible because that helps the cooking to be a lot more even. So I did a lot of this earlier because I knew it would cause a lot of noise. But go for it, get some of your aggression from the day out in that chicken. Flatten it out as much as possible. I probably, just for reference, I probably hit the thicker sides of the chicken maybe 4 or 5 times each. So it really doesn't take that much to flatten them out. And again, there's no such thing as perfection tonight. We are just here to have fun, get the nutrition in, and end up with a very delicious dinner. Oh yeah, and we'll be doing some dancing too. And it's okay if you want to sit back and just giggle at me while I'm doing the dancing. It's all good. Let's see. So Sarah's back. Hi, having you in our circle. She says, Mama always said, eat the rainbow. Amen, sister. Yes. So Vanessa asked, what is the difference between white salt and pink salt? Awesome question. So the pink salt is actually what I've been using this evening. This is Himalayan pink salt. And I say sea salt because it's kind of interchangeable, but the Himalayan pink salt actually doesn't come from the sea. It comes from a mountain. So it actually comes from rocks in a mountain in the Middle East. But the pH is very similar to the sea salt that we get from the sea. And so if you mean the white salt that comes from the sea, that's the difference. But if you mean the white salt that you're buying from the regular grocery store in the, I'm saying regular, quote unquote, the salt that most of us probably grew up on, the difference is definitely one is from nature and one is man-made. And I always encourage you to go for the natural foods, the natural products. All right. Yay, Sarah. And Chandel says hello. Hello, Chandel. So glad you're here. Okay, so now hopefully you've beat up the chicken well enough that it's all flat. I'm actually going to start turning on my heat on my cooktop right now, just because this cooktop takes a little bit longer than your standard cooktop. I'm going to move this to the side for now. But while I do that, I'm going to take 2 eggs in a bowl. We're going to crack these eggs open because this is going to be our base. And the eggs offer extra protein. For every meal, if we want to be satiated and we want all of our bases covered, we want a healthy protein, we want a healthy fat, and we want that healthy fiber. And you're in luck because tonight's recipe has all 3. Okay, and I told you about the challenging, about washing my hands on screen. I've got a little magic bowl over here, so I'm gonna wash that egg yolk off of my fingers. I'm gonna add a little bit of my sea salt, or as our friend kind of caught me in, my Himalayan pink salt. I appreciate that. And then I'm just going to scramble. Feel free to dance while you scramble that egg. Whip the egg, whisk the egg. All right, so now that's gonna be our base. The gluten-free breadcrumbs, dun, 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 dun. They definitely deserve a little dance. I will tell you, about 20 years ago, when I was diagnosed as gluten intolerant, there were very few products that, I guess, catered to the gluten-free lifestyle. But now, 20 years later, I'm sure you see it everywhere in your regular grocery stores and the health foods grocery stores. And the reason, whether you're gluten intolerant or not, that we want to go for gluten-free as often as possible is because the wheat, the way it's grown these days, is just it can be, I don't want to get in trouble, but it can be inflammatory for a lot of our bodies. And so if you have the option of gluten-free or non-gluten-free, I think your body is imploring you, go for gluten-free, because it really is super easy to find. And as you'll see at the end of this meal, it tastes just as good, if not better, I think, than a lot of the glutinous products. So I put my gluten-free breadcrumbs on the plate. Next, I'm going, and you know what, while this is heating up, I'm actually going to heat up the avocado oil, another healthy brain supportive oil, while the pan is heating up. And if you're on a regular cooktop, you're welcome to wait to turn the heat on. I just know this takes a good 2 minutes to get it going. So we're heating that up. Let me turn it up a little bit higher. Okay. And so I'll just tell you, we'll take one breast at a time. I'm gonna get the egg yolk on both sides. I'm gonna place it in the breadcrumbs, flip it in the breadcrumbs, and then place it gently in the avocado oil. One reason why I prefer sauteing with avocado oil over the olive oil is because avocado oil is one of the rare oils that doesn't change form depending on how much heat it's given or less heat. Olive oil, it will change the chemical composition. And so I recommend olive oil. Yes, it's an amazing brain supportive oil, but not for cooking. We're going to want that more for your vinaigrettes, for your toppings, I don't know, maybe in place of butter on your toast in the morning, but not anything high heat. And speaking of high heat, I think we've got a good heat going here. So I'm gonna open up my bag of my beaten chicken. And again, if you're going the vegetarian route, skip this one. And we're gonna add your vegetarian protein at the end, whether that's the tofu, what is that other one? Tempeh. Tempeh's a good gluten-free vegetarian protein substitute. So feel free to do that at the end. Getting that egg yolk going, and dip off a little bit extra. So I'm just gonna simply place it and kind of press it down to make sure it's coated. And now I'm flipping it to the other side. And this one's a little bit thicker, so I'm just gonna make sure it's all coated and just place it in the pan. Now that we have the heat going, I'm gonna move a little bit faster, dip in the next one. And that's as simple as that. Do we have any, so Suzanne's asking, what temperature have you set on your cooktop? This is about medium high. And I noticed this pan is not quite as big as some of the pans I often use. So Mama's only gonna do 2 fillets tonight, and we'll save the rest for lunch tomorrow. And let's see if there's any other questions. No, so far so good. So then for those of you who are not cooking right now and have your hands clean and ready, let's give you a quiz. I am about to slice a red bell pepper. Does anybody want to tell me why this culinary nutritionist might be choosing a red bell pepper over a green bell pepper? I'll give you a few minutes to think about that. Some of my professional nutritionistos. Yes, I love making up words as we go. You might know this, that might be an easy one. And for my beginners, I noticed somebody earlier said they were a beginner chef, I think in the Boulder area. I don't know if you want to take a guess at why I might choose a red bell pepper over a green bell pepper for its nutrition content. So Lila says sweeter. Yes, that's why I chose it for the taste for the recipe. And Kit says less acidic. Yes. Norma, sweeter. Laura, healthy heart choice. Yes, ma'am. And Lila says, I started to say sweeter. Yep. Sarah says that's a great idea. Janice for the win. More antioxidants. You are exactly right. And I'll add any of the colors, going back to the color similar to the purple potato that was asked earlier, there's always going to be more nutrients. And in the case of the green bell pepper and the red bell pepper, yes, it's sweeter. Lovely. I snack on them on their own. In fact, my 14-year-old daughter, she'll come and eat it like an apple. Like, I'm not quite there yet, but we like our red bell peppers in this house. But it's also super high in vitamin C. So keep that in mind. If you ever feel like a little cold coming on or a little throat tickle, peel or slice a red or even a yellow or an orange bell pepper, and that should do the trick for you. Speaking of which, while the chicken is sizzling, I am going to start slicing the red pepper. I already sliced the yellow pepper earlier, but I know, especially from some of my beginner chefs, this is a common question. How do you cut a bell pepper? Well, honestly, there probably are about 100 different ways, but this is the way I do it. So I cut off the top, you saw that. It went, oh, and I cut it in half. And then I just take my hand and I take the seeds out. Oh, and by the way, there's chicken to the left of me, or to the side of me, depending on how I'm showing up on your screen. We're going to cook it 3 minutes on each side. So it's probably about time to flip it in a moment. And that's just to get that crispiness in, but we're gonna end up baking it to cook it all the way through. We are not going to have any sushi chicken tonight. Not quite my style. So then I just took all the seeds out there. And I did rinse this already, just so you know. Love to rinse my fruits and veggies before I ingest them. And then the lid, I save this. I try to avoid any food waste in this house. So I just take off the stem. I'm going to cut the top in half. And because for this recipe it's calling for the long cuts, we're just going to cut it right down the middle and keep it in its kind of strip formation. So nice and simple. There we go. So hopefully, oh, it smells good already. Hopefully your chicken is sizzling. I'm gonna flip it next for another 3 minutes. And let's see. The question is, how does it compare to the yellow bell pepper? Yellow bell pepper is still very high in vitamin C. I would say the red, because of the deeper color, is a little more vitamin C, but you can't go wrong with either one. And Grace got the answer, the higher vitamin C. So Grace, you get double, triple points. How about that? And a shoulder shape. Let's see. The chicken looks and smells so delish, yay. And you know what, mine's drying out, so I'm just gonna put a little bit more avocado oil in there. My sister, Andrea, who's actually on this call, it's kind of funny because she is a stickler for moist chicken. She's got a sound that I'm not even gonna try to recreate, but even though she's not here, like I feel her staring at me like, that better not be dry chicken. Don't worry, Andrea, this is gonna be moist and delicious. So we've got 3 minutes, that probably was more like 4 minutes, now 3 more minutes, and then we're gonna put the chicken in the oven next to the potatoes if we're in the same oven. If we've got 2 different ovens, we've got the potatoes at 425 and the chicken at 400 degrees. All right, so Lynn says she has 8 bell pepper plants in your garden this year. Oh, that sounds like a dream. And I'm sure your body is saying, thank you, thank you. All right, I'm gonna keep slicing this red bell pepper. And so now that I have kind of the half body here, I'm just doing long slices. For this recipe, again, it's calling for long slices of the pepper, long slices of the onion, which we'll get to momentarily. But if you're waiting for something to do, please keep chopping. Follow that recipe from the link at the bottom of your screen. Or I can just tell you, we're doing long slices of the red bell pepper, long slices of, I chose red onion, but you can definitely use white or yellow onion for this recipe. As somebody mentioned earlier, the red bell peppers are sweeter, so are the red onions. So for this recipe, I love kind of that sweet, salty combination, the sweet and savory, and that's why I chose the red onion and the red bell pepper. Let's see. So Louise is asking, besides avocado oil, what other oil do you recommend for cooking? Awesome question. So believe it or not, I fully back up full fat butter. That's another great brain supportive oil for those of us who can tolerate dairy. I personally can't. So I've been using this Miyoko's vegetarian oil, which has been great, or vegetarian butter. Ghee is a really awesome top of the line brain supportive oil, and ghee is a byproduct of butter, and it's also super delicious, but it cooks at very high temperatures without changing form as well. So I would say the avocado oil, the ghee, or the coconut oil is another awesome antioxidant, antiviral oil that can also be cooked at high heat as well. So awesome question, thanks for asking. I'm gonna turn this heat down. I'm gonna give it 1 more minute before we place it in the oven. And Vanessa's asking, if I do not eat meat, may I use zucchini or squash? Ooh, that is an excellent idea. Thank you for giving me that tip. Do you mind, Vanessa, if I borrow that for future recipes for my vegetarian friends? But I would definitely use the zucchini and dip it in the breadcrumbs and follow along with us. That's bravo. Bravo. Zucchini is also, believe it or not, super high in vitamin C, but obviously it's great for fiber, which is an awesome cleanser, which we always say, yes, please. All right, let's see. So Sarah used butter, and that's why her chicken smells so amazing. Nicely done, Sarah. I bet your house does smell amazing. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take a regular cookie sheet. You can use, similar to the potatoes, a cookie sheet or a glass baking dish, but we're gonna move these gorgeous chicken fillets to the oven. I'm gonna take this pan off of the heat. And again, if you have a single oven, hopefully these both fit, but if not, just give it a minute. It looks like we have only about 2 minutes left on the potatoes anyways. So just wait, take the potatoes out, put the chicken in. We've got the 2 ovens. We're gonna have the chicken at 400 degrees and the potatoes at 425. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, great, right on time. The middle point. Let's see. Sarah says, or eggplant. That could be very delicious. I get like this weird reaction at the roof of my mouth when I eat it. Like I love it, like baba ganoush. I love the blended eggplant, but it does weird things to my body. So with that said, so another thing I recommend is whether you're cooking with me or you're out there in the world at your farmer's market or grocery store, I empower you to just get creative and keep trying things that work for you. I know a lot of us get so busy, even those of us who are retired. I noticed somebody mentioned that they were celebrating retirement. Congratulations to you. I cannot wait for that day. But even in your retirement, I'm sure you're busy and you get into your habits and your routines. So I just encourage you, like when you're grocery shopping, look at the ingredients, read the labels, try things, test things, try to get out of your comfort zone and just see what may make you feel better in your own body. Because all of our bodies are so unique. And I'm gonna get off my, what is that called? Not my stage. When you're like preaching, I'm gonna stop preaching. How about that? Let's cook, because we wanna eat. At least I wanna eat. I'm getting hungry. Okay, so we did the chicken, the breadcrumbs. Now let's get into that beautiful veggie melange. We get jazz hands for the veggies. This nutritionist cannot get enough veggies. So this one, I'm pulling out my wok. You don't necessarily need a wok, and this is still hot, so I'm gonna, oh, and our timer just went off. Perfect timing. So take a pause on the veggie melange. I'm gonna put this hot pan on the stove behind me, and I'm gonna check on my potatoes. So those of you who are cooking with me, check on your potatoes too. They probably just need a little shake, because I'm guessing they're probably not all the way done yet. And we do want a little bit of brown, but we don't want them crispy yet. But we do want them brown. And of course, safety first. Bringing out the gloves. Okay, so yeah, so mine aren't quite ready, so I'm just gonna give them a little shake. Shake, shake, shake. And some of them are sticking, so I'm grabbing my spatula and just making sure to kind of flip them around as much as possible, but just giving them a stir. Again, no such thing as perfection. It's still gonna be delicious. So mine are, I would say, ooh, I probably want even another 10 minutes on these. But go at your style, whether you want them a little bit thicker or softer or crispier. I'm gonna go for crispier on mine. Okay, so let me put the timer on now for the chicken. We're probably at about 18 minutes there. So we've got 18 minutes on the chicken. And then we're just gonna be intuitive about the potatoes. I can usually smell them when it's time to pull them out. And I see some movement over here. Let's see. So somebody said grapeseed oil. The only thing I would caution you with the grapeseed oil is it really changes form at high heat. I think it's fine for vinaigrettes and for salads and for toppings, but I would highly recommend not sauteing anything with it. If that's already happening tonight, don't worry, I'm not judging you. I can't see what you're doing, but maybe next time try the avocado oil or even the coconut oil for that yummy coconut flavor, or the ghee, similar to Sarah using the butter. It just tastes amazing. All right, let's see what we've got going here. Can you use extra virgin olive oil? Absolutely. Again, if you're doing that tonight, it's fine, but maybe next time try one of the other healthier fats that are great at high temperatures. Let's see, eggplant instead of chicken. Yes, that is what I would do. The eggplant, I would probably cut it into nice strips. And then also if you are eating the egg, I don't know if you're vegan, but if you are okay with the egg, then yeah, I would roll it in the egg, dip it in the breadcrumbs, and then fry it up. I think that would be amazing. But then I don't think you would need to bake it at all because the eggplant will fry up and cook very quickly. So awesome question. Let's see, how long is the chicken baking for? The chicken is baking for 20 minutes, and that should get it nice and juicy and moist. All right. Annette says, I've never tried coconut oil. Does it have a taste of coconut, like coconut shrimp? You know what, I would recommend experimenting because some people, like my daughter, for instance, when I cook for, sometimes I'll use it for ground turkey. She'd be like, oh, Mom, I can tell you use coconut oil. Whereas I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't even taste it. And I feel like I have a really sensitive palate. So I think it depends on what you're cooking and who you're cooking with and for. But I don't think it has a heavy coconut taste. Let's see, refined versus unrefined. Wow, we've got some questions tonight. I like this community. We definitely want, I'm reaching as if I have it here. We definitely want it unrefined because anything that says refined or processed or recombobulated, you probably won't see that on the label, but anything like that, that means that our hands, man-made hands have been in there. And again, anytime we can get something as close to the source and as natural as possible, our bodies are going to really thank us for that. So if you have the refined in your kitchen right now, again, maybe just next time, try the unrefined. All right. What about canola oil? Janice just asked the dun question. Canola oil in any form, whether you're cooking with it or vinaigrette, it's another man-made product. So not only is it a chemical, but that's actually one of the worst because it has xenoestrogens in it. And so when it gets in our body, it goes in and it tells our brain, think like this, do like that. And the brain's like, okay, but they're not real estrogens. And so, especially in children, it really rewires brains poorly. So that one I can't even be kind about. Just get it out. And then next time you go to the grocery store, just never put it back in your grocery cart. And it's all good. All right, let's see. Now we can move on to our Veggie Melange. So I got the green beans, which are another awesome source of vitamin C and fiber and delicious. Sorry, I've been smelling them. I can't help it. So we've got the green beans, and for the melange, everything's going to be, again, kind of the longer pieces. If you chop things already, don't worry, it's still going to be good. But I just prefer it long for this particular recipe. So trim off the edges. The red onion, which actually had me tearing up right before this workshop started. So for those of my fellow sensitive onion people, maybe I put them away already, but I wear onion goggles. They're basically just kind of like ski goggles, but they protect my eyes. So that is my little gift to you if you are also sensitive. Put on the goggles. And with the onion, I just sliced it. So I call this kind of the scarecrow man side. and then the knot. You're going to want to cut off the not scarecrow man size so that you have a flat surface. Cut the scarecrow in half. Peel off the hard edges of the onion. And then now that you have that half onion, you're just going to slice it so that you get these gorgeous half circles. Easy peasy. And then, as we already started earlier with for my recipe, I chose red bell pepper and a yellow bell pepper, mainly for color to mix it up. But as we already discussed, both very high in vitamin C. If you have other colors, great. So 2 bell peppers, and again, you want to get the long slices. We also have our green olives and black olives, and any kind is fine. These just give it kind of that, I like to call it the umami, that extra oomph flavor that just kind of, I think, pulls the dish down, makes it feel grounded, and you're getting more healthy, brain-supportive fat. Olives are one of the best fats in the world, and again, close to nature in their whole form. The recipe that I wrote down calls to slice them in half, which you can, but you can also go for the lazy version like me and keep them whole. That is what I'm doing here. And then capers, oh lordy, they are so high and so thick in iron, which a lot of us sadly don't get because of our nutrition. So this is one delicious way to put in it, or excuse me, to get more iron in. And I know it can be a strong flavor, so not everybody loves capers, and that's fine. We're still getting iron in the green beans. We also can get iron. I pulled out some extra herbs tonight. Again, not written down in the recipe, but if you have extra herbs laying around, perhaps in your gorgeous garden outside, or the farmer's market, again, you were called to this herb, you brought it home, and you're like, what now? We can definitely peel them off, chop them up, and put it on as a topping when we're done plating our meal this evening. All right, let's see. So sunflower and safflower oil. I'm going to put this one back to you, Louise. Have you ever met a safflower? And the only reason I say that, I'm being a little cheeky, is that it's not natural. It's another man-made product, I guess you could say. So I say avoid that. The sunflower oil, I mean, it's okay, but I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find an organic sunflower oil, because I think that would be really expensive because those seeds in themselves are already kind of pricey. So in that case, I would say just eat the sunflowers because they're, or the seeds, the sunflower seeds, because they're high in antioxidants and they're gonna fill you up more and you're gonna get that much closer to nature. So if you can, try to avoid those oils. All right, Annette said it's hysterical about your daughter tasting the coconut. She's a teenager. That's all I can say on that for now. Let's see. So Sarah says, I got 1 bunch of green beans for the recipe and 1 to eat as snacks this week. Yes, that's my girl, because they're so darn delicious. I love that you feel comfortable to eat them raw, because again, I think a lot of us grew up with the canned green beans, which is not the worst, but if you can get them natural, straight from nature, it's going to be so much better for your system. All right. Lila says, I retired last year and loving it. Congratulations. I tried to grow window box herbs and they all died. No green thumb for me. All right, Lila. Well, I encourage you not to give up. Perhaps next time, just make sure the sun is on them and that they're watered. I will tell you, herbs are, what's the word? I'm trying not to use the word leach, but it just left my mouth. But they need a lot of water and a lot of sunshine. So try that next time. And then Pamela's asking, in general, what is the best way to cook vegetables, as in for health, nutrition, as well as taste? Probably depends on the vegetable and the time of the year. If the vegetable is in season, steam it instead of bake or fry it. Or is it all just a matter of taste and the dish you are making? Oh my gosh! A plus for just a very full-bodied question that had about 10 questions in there. So let's break it down because I absolutely love these questions. Oh, you know what? And I promise I'm not stalling, but let's check on our potatoes because we don't want them to burn. So check your potatoes to make sure that they are the texture that you want to eat them. I'm gonna give them a shake, shake, shake again. So mine look like they still need maybe 5 more minutes. Because we do want the potatoes cooked through. Even if you don't want them too crunchy, we do want them cooked through because raw potatoes just aren't good and they often hurt my tummy. I don't know about you. Okay, let's break down Pamela's questions. Okay. The best way to eat vegetables, I'll start with a question that you kind of didn't ask, but kind of answers this, is a lot of people think, I gotta get organic. That's what all the nutrition books say. And I would say, yes, if you can grab organic, great. But locally grown food, that's actually gonna be better for your blood system, your nervous system, if you're getting locally grown food because you're breathing similar air. So locally grown food first, local and organic, that would be amazing. Organic, and then of course, whatever you're getting in the store. With that said, I will encourage you to also, if you're shopping in the grocery store for your veggies, to still look for those organics. Like get some of the old mindset out of your mind that it's going to be too expensive. Because most of the time, it really is maybe a couple pennies more, if at all. I know here in Denver, I shop at Sprouts, and I actually save money by shopping organic veggies there than the regular produce at the King Soopers. So just as an example, try to go for the organic when you can because we don't want those chemicals. Again, the xenoestrogens getting in, rewiring our brain. We want all of our food to be as organic and as clean as possible. So that was part of it. As far as the best way to cook it, I would say you were right. It does depend on the vegetable because some veggies that are raw, they're just really hard to digest. For instance, broccoli. I can't eat raw broccoli to save my life. So I don't. I steam it, I roast it. How else do I cook it? Oh, I saute it sometimes. So yeah, so some of the cruciferous veggies, the cabbage, those is cruciferous, the Brussels sprouts, I definitely cook those. But like the green beans, I can eat those raw. Of course, the peppers are great raw and great cooked, and you're not going to lose much nutrients by cooking them. Those are just a few examples. So let me make sure I got everything else. But then yes, in season, the vegetables that are in season, those are also going to be similar to what I was talking about with the locally grown. We're breathing similar air, similar time of the year. Our bodies are going to be more grateful for that. So thank you so much for that question. Speaking of veggies, let's jump in and make them. So I am turning my wok to about medium-high heat. And with this recipe, we are going to use balsamic vinegar, which I just noticed I forgot to grab. And look at that. Now you guys can see the inside of a Culinary Nutritionist fridge. Hopefully it's what you might expect. Lots of veggies and lots of natural condiments. Okay, so I'm going to use avocado oil for my oil. You feel free to use, I think, the whole point I said that is because the balsamic vinegar is that kind of tangy, savory. So I think butter would be fine, ghee would be fine. I think the coconut oil might be a little sweet with this one because we're going for more of that salty taste. Again, the avocado oil has next to zero flavor to it. So that's why I'm choosing it, just so that I can get that full, rich-bodied flavor from the balsamic vinegar and these gorgeous veggies. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Okay, so my pan is almost there. You're welcome to heat your pan. If you've already started, I would do medium-high, and I would start with the onions first and the peppers. They can go in at the same time. And just so you know, we're going to layer the onions, put in some seasonings, then the green beans, put in a little bit more seasonings, and then we'll top it off with the olives because they really don't need to be cooked. It's more for the mix of the flavor. Okay, let's try it. So this is about maybe a tablespoon and a half of oil. And then let's see if it is hot. Oh yeah, I got the sizzle. So I'm gonna put my veggies in away from my body so that it doesn't splatter back at me. So I did the red onion, as you can see. I also sliced a yellow pepper, again for the color and the beautiful vitamin C. The red pepper, the red onion. And I'm just gonna mix all those together. And while I do that, Deborah's saying I don't refrigerate my balsamic vinegar. Should I? I would say it depends on how fast you go through your balsamic. This is a pretty big bottle for us, which lasts almost a year in this house. Like, I really don't use that much of it. So I keep it in the fridge just to keep it fresh. But you're right, it is shelf stable. And if you have a smaller bottle and you just don't want to use the space in your fridge, you're perfectly fine. But I probably wouldn't leave it out for longer than 3 to 4 months, just because you just never know about mold issues. That's what I'm always just a little bit concerned about. So, speaking of this gorgeous balsamic vinegar, which is more of a flavor additive, it's, as a nutritionist, I would say this is kind of a neutral food. Like, it's not necessarily going to harm you, but it's not necessarily going to add health either. So I'm doing maybe, that's about 2 teaspoons of balsamic oil. I'm also going to put in some Himalayan pink salt. That was probably about 3/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to mix them up. Oh my gosh, this smells so good already. Did you see that pepper flying out? Ooh, looks like we have 8 minutes to go. Come on, potatoes. Keep cooking for us. We're ready for you. We'll let that sizzle a little bit more. And if you're still chopping, of course we want you to, oh, timer went off. I want you to chop off the ends of your green beans. And then if you wanted to slice your olives in half, you are welcome to do that. And let's see. Nancy says, my cats decided that my herb garden was a great place to sleep. Needless to say, we didn't get any fresh herbs. Did you put some catnip in there, Nancy? That's really funny. Let's see. And so Sarah says, best to keep the edible peels on. That's where the nutrients are. Very good. Yes. So if you can tolerate some of the peels, please eat them. So the peels on the apples, probably not the bananas, but any of the, of course, the onion, I took off the papery part, but there's still some of the thick red onion peel in here. The green beans have their natural peel. So you're exactly right. Let's see. Steaming is better than boiling. I agree. I believe you don't dump as much of the good nutrients out with the bath water. Amen, sister. I agree. Allison says, I feel like potatoes never get done when I want them to. Yeah, I'm finding that. And Sarah says, especially at the elevation of 8,500. Well, there you go. Maybe that's my problem. We are going to give it a little bit more time because I can't quite smell the chicken the way I want to smell it. But, of course, check yours because that was 20 minutes. So feel free to pull it out of the oven. Every oven temperature is just slightly different than another. So we're going to go with what works for our individual kitchens, our individual cooking styles. So these gorgeous peppers and onion are cooking. Next, we're going to put in the green beans. If I can get them in, which I can. Whoop. And as I just did that, one thing I wanted to show you, but again, I am not a chef, I am a nutritionist. But one thing I did learn from chefs is that when you see them doing this, like up high with the sea salt, and it looks like they're trying to be extra fancy, it's honestly, it's not for looks, it's because it spreads farther that way. And more of the sides of the food get touched. So now not only can you be and feel fancy, but you'll know that you're spreading the flavor around. And so that was a little bit, that was probably another half teaspoon sea salt, and now about 1 teaspoon of balsamic that I'm putting in. And I'm going to give it another stir. All right, let's see. So Deborah says, I've heard that steaming is a higher heat than baking and can destroy the nutrients in veggies. Is this something you have ever heard of? Yes and no. I mean, of course, the higher the heat, then yeah, you are going to lose a few nutrients, but it's like infinitesimal. Like, I would much rather you focus on getting the vegetables in your body than worrying so much about the heat. And I want you to cook the vegetables the best way, or your favorite way of eating them, because then there's going to be a higher chance of you getting that nutrition in your body. So, awesome question, an awesome statement. Let's see. Beverly says, I love that you call it being fancy. I'm going to start being fancy when I cook. Yes! We need more fancy chefs. Woo! I'm going to go check on the potatoes while the veggies, the green beans, the peppers and onions are sauteing. Looks like we've got about 4 more minutes. Let's see if we can get it done by then. Clock is ticking. Thumbs down. But I'm also going to check the chicken. Okay. So my chicken actually does look complete. I'm going to put it on the stove top for now. And we'll give the potatoes right up to the end. They're just going to keep us on suspense. So now that the green beans are kind of getting steamed while they're being sauteed, I'll give them just one more moment. I was like, please don't fall before I put the olives in. The olives will be like the last step. I saw some movement over here. Let's see. Joyce says, at this point, to hasten the cooking of the potatoes, would it be okay to micro it? But you'd have to use another container, another bowl to wash. Again, you're bringing up so much in one question that could be simple, but you're talking to a nutritionist. So first things first, yes, I've got that microwave behind my head. I've never used it, and I've lived here 2 years now. Microwaves, you can do your own research, which I would encourage you to do, but they're just really not good because they change the form of our food because of the process. So it really doesn't take that much longer to heat things up. Like I typically heat my lunch up either on the stovetop, well, the actual stovetop behind me, or in my toaster oven over here. So I would encourage you to consider doing the same. I'm never going to point my finger though, just so you know. But then the other part of what you said was the bowls. And the only reason that makes me giggle, because as I mentioned earlier, I have a teenager, and that is her least favorite chore. And of course, she thinks that I'm the evilest person in the world when she has to do the dishes. So that's what that comment made me think of. So thank you for your comment. All right. So now we're going to turn the heat off of the veggies. We are going to pour the olives in. And thank you for the hip tip, Jan. I'm going to take you up on that. I appreciate it. I'm going to mix everything up. I'm going to give it one more half teaspoon of the sea salt. I'm gonna pour in the capers. Gives it a little bit of tang, and like I said, that extra iron that we all want and crave. And then I'm gonna give it one more teaspoon of the balsamic vinegar. I love layering in the spices as I cook. It just makes the dish that much deeper and richer. All right, so my heat is off. My utensils will be put to the side. I'm gonna go grab the potatoes. Oh wait, I think that did the magic. They are sizzling. I'm sure you can smell, even those of you who are not cooking, you can probably smell the potatoes. You can smell the vinaigrette, the balsamic vinaigrette in there. And maybe you can smell Sarah's buttered chicken through the screen. So let's plate it and eat it. Here we go. And while I'm doing this, just as a reminder, whether you've been cooking with me or sitting back to watch, feel free to go to the bottom of your screen if you're on a laptop or desktop and grab your handout so you can have all the steps to this recipe and make it at your leisure. Also, don't want to forget to let you know, I will be back. I'm so excited. On October 7th, right here, we'll be making one of my favorite gluten-free pizzas. And it's actually a vegetarian pizza for some of my vegetarian friends with a salad that will be vegetarian as well. And it is so delicious and one of my faves. So I hope you all come back October 7th. Okay, so if you're ready to dig in with me, we are going to put the roasted potatoes on the bottom. And for one plate, I'm putting in, and that's enough for me, but of course, go at your own style, go with what you like. And now I'm gonna grab my tongs to grab these gorgeous long veggies. I'm gonna put that on top of the potatoes. Oh, the layering is so beautiful. Next, I'm gonna go grab a chicken breast. But I'm gonna need my chicken breast spatula to do that. And it wouldn't be culinary nutrition without some herbs on the top. So let's make space. I'm gonna actually move these potatoes back to the stove so that I don't get burnt. And here we go. I'm gonna use some of my parsley. I have this left over from my recipe from last night. And I'm gonna go with my fancy spritzes again. You can get fancy with the salt and with the herbs. And then also cilantro. And I will tell you, both of these herbs are really excellent at detoxifying our blood. So any way we can get them in, sometimes I put them in my smoothies in the morning. Oftentimes I'll just add them to a salad. And tonight, we're adding them to this gorgeous Unparmesan chicken with roasted red potatoes and the Veggie Melange. I'm gonna have a bite. Let's see, and actually I saw the screen over here moving. Let's see what it says. Deborah says, I don't usually use salt when I cook. Awesome, Deborah, love that. If you're gonna choose between the white chemical stuff and no salt, I definitely encourage you to stay with the no salt. Nice. Sarah says, my husband says the hungry bears are all headed our way. Yay, well, I hope they love your new entree. Deborah says, do you use salt-packed capers or the one in liquid? awesome question. So I have been using this brand. I get this at Sprouts, called Mediterranean Organic. It says organic capers, water, sea salt, and citric acid. And I know the citric acid is used as a protective liquid. So that's there. Beverly says, this was so fun. Thank you. Can't wait to make this recipe. Awesome. Sue, I loved all the information and your enthusiasm, Michelle. Thank you, Sue. And thanks so much for being here. Let's see. And Allison says, Colorado peeps, keep an eye on your email to register. Out-of-state friends, keep an eye on the AARP Virtual Community Center. It should be posted there in September. So yes, come back. Put October 7th, same time, same place on your calendar. Christina, it all looks so delish. I hope it is for you, Christina. Let's see. Sarah says, I missed the first herb. So Sarah, this one I used parsley, which is actually kind of like the father blood cleanser. Anytime you can get parsley in your diet, your body's going to thank you. And then the second one is a cilantro. Looks good. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so welcome. Great info. Looks delish. Great show. Yay! So the grand finale is my favorite part because it means I get to eat. So maybe I should say thank you before I get my mouth full. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm getting a little bit of chicken, getting some veggies, potatoes, a little too thick for television or for the workshop. I'll eat that in private, but let's see. So I've got the crunchy chicken, the savoriness, and then the sweetness from the peppers and the onion. Delicious! I hope yours is delicious as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this. Again, grab your recipe at the bottom, and I hope I get to see you on October 7th. Have a great night.